Come and hear a story with me. Love who you want to be, who you are. Learn these lessons and we'll go far. It's story time. Story time. Story time with Mama G. Hello everybody, Mama G here, and I am very excited to get to share with you The Most Contented Snail by Troy Jenkinson with illustrations by Benjamin Blacknall. Sit back, relax, and I hope you enjoy it. There were once two African snails. Two brothers, Frank, the eldest, had a large smile that crept across his face. Carl was a smart, young snail with a cheeky streak. The two young snails were inseparable. Whenever Frank went out to play in the park, Carl followed. Whenever Carl was tired and wanted to curl up under a leaf, Frank too took a little nap in a cool, shady spot. Just like all good snails should, Frank and Carl went to the local school. Carl particularly liked to solve problems in mathematics, whereas Frank preferred reading and artwork. While they both happily played together, they also welcomed others into their games. One such friend was Cyril the slug. Cyril was a happy-go-lucky little slug who liked to do well at school. He had a wonderful smile and enjoyed playing with Frank and Carl. But behind that smile lay a niggling feeling. Whenever Frank and Carl played hide-and-seek, they had their beautiful shells to tuck away into. Whenever they played ball, they could bounce it from one shell to another. Whenever they played shell tag, they slithered after one another, trying to win the game. All Cyril could do was look on. One day, Cyril, looking downhearted, saw his two friends playing a game with their striking shells. Instead of going to join in, he merely sat at the side and looked on. Out of the corner of his eye, Frank spotted Cyril glumly sitting by himself. He went over to ask what was wrong. Without thinking, Cyril sobbed that he wanted a shell. All he'd ever wanted was a shell. He longed to play the games his friends played and wished he was just like them. Frank and Carl pondered for a while. How could they help their friend? Carl, the problem solver, hatched a plan. If it was a shell that would make Cyril happy, a shell he would have. They searched, and before long found something. A clear plastic bottle discarded by a human. They peeked inside, but there was a problem. It was very hot inside due to the afternoon sun and had dangerously sharp edges. They didn't want to hurt their friend. Animals often explore rubbish that humans throw away, so it is always best to put it carefully in the bin. They continued their search and soon spied an empty tortoise shell. The pattern was stunningly decorative, but as they took a closer look, they realized if Cyril were to wear this shell, he would not be able to move. Can you think why? Of course, a tortoise moves with his legs poking out of the corners of the shell. Frank and Carl continued their search. Sitting on the edge of some golden sand, a hermit crab tiptoed towards the two friends. She spotted a larger shell, scurried out of the one she was wearing and hopped into her new home. Frank and Carl beamed from ear to ear and slid across to the shell, but it was just too large. The two brothers had almost given up and headed back to their friend. With a stroke of luck, they saw in the hedgerow an abandoned snail shell not too dissimilar to their own. Could it be just what they were looking for? They heaved the shell back to Cyril. He grinned with delight and tried it on at once. It was a perfect fit. Now he could be just as he wanted, like his friends, joining in with their games. It doesn't matter what you look like. It is how you feel that is important, they thought. So The next time you see a slug at the bottom of your garden, hovering around a discarded snail shell, take a good look. Because it just might be Cyril, who is now the most contented slug in the whole wide world. The end. Well, I hope you enjoyed that story. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel to catch the rest of my videos, and you can find me on Facebook and Instagram. Just search for @MamaGStories. Bye! It's story time with Mama G. Come and hear a story with me. Love who you want to be, who you are. Learn these lessons and we'll go far. It's story time. Story time. Story time with Mama.